The envelope landed beside my water glass while a room full of officers watched. I knew what it was before I opened it. Bruce had been avoiding my eyes all evening. He'd greeted everyone near the door, shook hands, laughed too loudly, and kept finding reasons to cross the room. The man who handed me the envelope looked embarrassed. "Sandra Contreras? Yes, these are for you." Bruce stood beside the podium. He didn't look surprised. The officers' club had gone quiet around us. Someone near the bar set down a glass. A fork scraped across a plate, then stopped. I opened the envelope. The first page began with our names: Bruce Walton, petitioner; Sandra Contreras, respondent; divorce. After 25 years, my husband had served me in the middle of a hail and farewell. I looked across the room at him. "You planned this here?" Bruce adjusted one cuff. "I didn't plan anything." The man who'd served me stepped away. I held up the envelope. He found my table. "That's his job. And you invited me." "This isn't the place, Sandra." That almost made me laugh. He had brought the divorce into the room. Now he wanted privacy. Jennifer sat near the podium with her purse in her lap. She was Bruce's mother, and she'd worn pearls for the occasion. Hannah, his sister, sat beside her. Neither woman looked surprised. That told me plenty. A woman behind me whispered, "Good Lord." Bruce heard her. His face tightened. He walked toward my table. "Please don't make a scene." I folded the papers once. "I'm sitting in my chair. You know what I mean?" "No, I don't." His jaw moved. Everyone knew we were arguing. They were trying not to stare. That made it worse. People studied their plates or checked their phones. One man walked to the bar without his glass. Bruce leaned closer. "This marriage hasn't worked in years." "That's news to me." "Is it?" "Yes." He straightened. Then he made the choice that ruined him. He could have lowered his voice. He could have asked me to leave. He could have admitted he wanted out. Instead, Bruce looked around the room. She played soldier while I built a real career. Nobody moved. I watched Jennifer's thumb smooth the clasp of her purse. Hannah stared at a centerpiece made from fake pine branches. Bruce looked satisfied for half a second. Then he saw my face. I didn't argue with him. I didn't list where I'd served. I didn't remind him what he'd watched me sacrifice. I placed the papers inside my handbag. "Are my car keys in your pocket?" He blinked. "What?" "You drove." "I need my keys. We should go home together. We're not doing anything together tonight." "Sandra." "My keys." He reached into his pocket and dropped them into my hand. I walked past Jennifer. She touched my wrist. Sometimes these things are for the best. I looked at her hand until she removed it. Hannah finally spoke. "Mom's just trying to help." She usually is. I left through the side entrance. Hail tapped against the club windows. Tiny pieces bounced across the sidewalk and collected against the curb. My shoes slipped once near the parking lot. I caught myself on a metal railing. That was the only time I lost my balance. To understand why Bruce thought he could do that, you have to understand our house. That morning had started like hundreds before it. I woke at 5:40 without an alarm. Bruce was already in the shower. His phone sat face down on the nightstand. I went downstairs and made coffee. Our home stood on Walnut Ridge Lane in Hopkinsville. It wasn't grand. It had a narrow kitchen, worn oak cabinets, and a back door that swelled during wet weather. We'd refinanced through a VA loan years earlier. Every month, I checked the payment twice. Bruce teased me about that. "You know the bank sends reminders," he'd say. "The bank doesn't live here." That morning, I packed his lunch while the coffee brewed. Turkey sandwich, mustard, sliced apple, 2 oatmeal cookies. I'd been retired for almost 2 years. Some habits stayed. Bruce came downstairs wearing his uniform trousers and a white undershirt. He carried his jacket over one arm. "Did you wash my blue mug?" "It's in the dishwasher. I needed it." "There are 6 other mugs. The blue one doesn't leak. It doesn't have a lid." He opened the dishwasher anyway. I watched him move clean plates around. "What time is tonight?" I asked. 6. "At the club?" "Yes." He found the mug and rinsed it. I leaned against the counter. "Who's leaving?" "Major Denton. I've met him." Once, maybe. Bruce poured coffee. Then why do you need me there? He glanced at me. Because spouses attend these things. You haven't wanted me at one in months. That's not true. I waited. He put the mug down. Can you just come tonight? I said I would, and wear something normal. I looked at my gray sweater. What does that mean? You know exactly what it means. No, Bruce, explain it. He opened the refrigerator. Don't show up looking like you're attending some military function. It is a military function. You're retired. I stared at the back of his head. He took out the milk even though he drank his coffee black. I was planning to wear a navy dress. That's fine. Was that difficult? He shut the refrigerator. Why does everything have to become an argument? I didn't answer. He hadn't asked a real question. He picked up his lunch bag. You put cookies in here? 2. He nodded once. For a moment, he looked like the man I'd married. Thanks. Then his phone vibrated upstairs. He went still. I noticed that. Bruce always carried his phone. He even took it outside when he checked the mailbox. That morning, he'd left it beside the bed. I'll get it, I said. No. He moved past me quickly. It's probably work. You're going upstairs anyway? I forgot something. I watched him take the steps 2 at a time. At first, I thought he was nervous about the event. His career had become a tender subject. He'd been a lieutenant colonel for years, and every ceremony seemed to leave him quieter afterward. I didn't know anything about another woman. Not then. I only knew Bruce had started locking doors inside our marriage. We hadn't always lived that way. When we married in 2001, we rented a duplex with thin walls. The neighbor's dog barked at our washing machine. We ate dinner from folding trays because we didn't own a table. Bruce talked about the future constantly. We'll get a real house, he told me. We have a real house. This is half a house. It has a whole roof. He smiled more back then. We were both serving, but Bruce liked presenting us as his military family. At dinners, he answered questions meant for both of us. Jennifer encouraged it. Our first Thanksgiving after the wedding, she asked Bruce about his work for nearly an hour. Then she turned to me. And what is it you do again? I told her. She nodded as if I'd described filing receipts. So you're on the support side. Everyone supports someone, of course. She smiled and passed the potatoes. Bruce has always wanted a real Army career. He heard her. He didn't correct her. That became the pattern. At family dinners, Bruce was the officer. I was his wife who happened to wear a uniform. If someone asked me a direct question, Jennifer found a way to redirect it. During my first deployment in 2003, she called once. The connection kept cutting out. I stood near a concrete wall with one finger pressed against my other ear. Can you hear me? I asked. Barely. Is Bruce there? No, he's working. A pause followed. Then Jennifer said, This has been very hard on him. I'm sure. He's handling the house alone. We've been married 2 years. We still rent. That isn't the point. What is the point? He has responsibilities. So do I. The line crackled. Jennifer lowered her voice. A wife shouldn't make her husband feel abandoned. I looked across the compound. Wind pushed dust along the ground. Someone waved that our vehicle was ready. I didn't pick the assignment. You accepted it. I accepted my commission. That's what I mean. The call ended before I could answer. When I returned, Bruce met me near the arrival area. He hugged me so hard my shoulder hurt. I missed you, he said. I missed you too. For several days, I believed things would be different. Then Jennifer held a dinner. She told everyone how Bruce had managed alone. She praised his patience, his sacrifice, and his strength. Nobody asked what I'd done. I watched Bruce accept their sympathy. On the drive home, I said, You could have helped me in there. With what? Your mother made my deployment about you. She was worried. So was I. She doesn't know how to talk about those things. She knows exactly how. Bruce gripped the steering wheel. Can we have one good night? I thought we did. You know what I mean. I did. A good night meant I didn't embarrass him with facts. After that, I stopped expecting Jennifer to understand. Hannah followed her lead. She copied the little phrases first. Support work, mostly administrative, not the same kind of pressure Bruce has. Hannah rarely asked me anything directly. She preferred statements that sounded like questions. You were somewhere safe, though, right? You mostly worked indoors, didn't you? You didn't actually have to deal with anything dangerous? When I said an assignment was classified or complicated, she took that as proof I'd done nothing. I deployed again in 2007, then again in 2011. Bruce sent care packages. He remembered my coffee. He mailed clean socks, paperback mysteries, and a birthday card signed only with his name. That was the confusing part. He could be kind in private. In public, he needed the room to believe he carried more. I let him. I didn't see it as surrender then. I thought it was marriage. I knew where I'd been. I knew what I'd done. I didn't need Jennifer's approval between the dinner rolls and sweet tea. By 2018, the difference between Bruce at home and Bruce around family had widened. That year, I received a promotion order. I found Bruce sitting at the kitchen table after work. A stack of unopened mail sat beside him. I put the order down. It came through. He read the first page. His face didn't change. Well, I asked. Well, what? Say something. Congratulations. That sounded painful. I said congratulations. He pushed the order back. I sat across from him. The ceremony is next month. I know how promotions work. I'd like your mother and Hannah there. He looked toward the window. Why? Because they're family. They don't enjoy military ceremonies. They attend yours. That's different. How? He stood and opened a cabinet. We don't need to do this tonight. I watched him take down a glass. I asked one question. He poured whiskey. Fine. Invite them. Jennifer declined the next day. A paperwork parade, she called it. Hannah laughed in the background. I held the phone away from my ear. I could still hear her. Bruce attended the ceremony. He stood where he was supposed to stand. He smiled for photographs. At dinner afterward, he drank too much. When the server brought the check, Bruce placed the ceremony program face down. Are you ashamed of me? I asked. No. Then why won't you look at me? I'm tired. You've been tired for 3 hours. He signed the receipt. Can tonight just be over? I picked up the program and put it in my handbag. Yes. I didn't ask again. For years, I protected that moment for him. I never told Jennifer what he'd said. I never told Hannah how he'd acted. At family gatherings, I still let Bruce answer first. I didn't correct people when they assumed his career carried our household. I didn't mention that my pay covered most of the mortgage during several difficult years. Bruce liked being needed. I thought giving him that space was love. When I retired in 2024, I kept the ceremony small. Maria Hughes attended. Her husband, Ernest, had died 2 years earlier. He'd known me since my commissioning in 1998. Maria hugged me near the reception table. Ernest would have been proud. I wish he were here. He knew. She held my hands. He watched the whole thing, Sandra. Don't forget that. Bruce stood several feet away. He checked his phone during our conversation. Later, at home, I placed my retirement papers in the office. My service characterization was honorable. I already knew the official record was held by Army Human Resources Command. The full file included my original commission, orders, evaluations, and retirement documents. That was ordinary record keeping. I also kept a framed copy of my commissioning certificate on the office wall. Ernest's signature crossed the bottom in dark ink. Bruce walked in while I was straightening the frame. "Where do you want the boxes?" he asked. "Against that wall." He set them down. "You're keeping all this?" "Yes." "For what?" "It's my record. You have digital copies. I'm keeping the paper." He looked at the certificate. Then he turned away. "Dinner's getting cold." That was all he said. By the end of 2025, Bruce spent more evenings away. He blamed mandatory events, retirement briefings, and staff problems. Sometimes he came home smelling like restaurant food after telling me he'd worked through dinner. I noticed. I didn't accuse him. We'd been married too long for careless suspicion. I wanted facts. That January morning, after Bruce rushed upstairs for his phone, I heard his voice through the ceiling. He was speaking quietly. I couldn't make out the words. When he came down, he had the phone in his pocket. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Work." "You're leaving early?" "Yes." He kissed my cheek. That surprised me more than the phone call. "See you tonight," he said. Then he left with the lunch I'd packed. I stood at the kitchen window and watched his car turn from Walnut Ridge Lane. The hail and farewell started at 6. By 7:15, I was holding divorce papers. Bruce didn't come home that night. I drove back alone through sleet. The windshield wipers dragged across the glass. My handbag sat on the passenger seat with the envelope inside. At the house, I locked the door behind me. Bruce's blue mug was still in the dishwasher. I took off my dress and hung it carefully. Then I put on old sweatpants and made tea I didn't drink. The divorce petition stayed inside my handbag. I wasn't ready to read it. Around midnight, Bruce sent a text. "We should give each other space." I typed 3 different replies. Then I deleted all of them. I slept in the guest room. The next morning, I opened the petition at the kitchen table. Most of it looked ordinary. Names, dates, property, retirement accounts, the house on Walnut Ridge Lane. Bruce wanted the house sold unless I surrendered my claim to part of his retirement. I read that section twice. Then I reached a paragraph titled Veteran Status Representations. The wording was stiff and oddly specific. Bruce claimed I had made material misrepresentations about my military service. He reserved the right to challenge my eligibility for benefits, retired pay, and any property interest connected to veteran status. I set the page flat. Bruce knew my discharge was honorable. He'd been inside the room when I received my retirement documents. He knew where I kept my copy. He knew Army Human Resources Command held the certified file. So why challenge something he knew was true? I read the paragraph again. This wasn't a general accusation. Someone had written it for a reason. I called the law office listed on a card Maria had once given me. A man answered on the 3rd ring. "Roy Shelton. My name is Sandra Contreras. How can I help you?" I looked at Bruce's petition. My husband filed for divorce. "I'm sorry to hear that. There's a clause in it I don't understand. What does it say?" I read the paragraph aloud. Roy didn't interrupt. When I finished, he stayed quiet. "Are you there?" I asked. "I'm here." "What does it mean?" "It means your husband intends to dispute your service record. He knows my record. That's why I'm concerned." I looked toward my office. The framed commissioning certificate hung beyond the open door. What would he need to dispute it? Evidence. What kind? Roy took a breath. "That's the first thing we need to find out. Until then, don't confront him. I already asked him why he filed. What did he say?" "He didn't answer." "Good. Let him keep not answering." Roy asked when I'd been served. I told him. "At the officers' club?" "Yes." "Was your husband present?" "He arranged it." Another pause. "Can you come in tomorrow morning?" "I can. Bring the entire petition. Bring anything concerning the house and retirement accounts. Don't sort it for me. That sounds expensive. It's cheaper than missing something." His office sat above a pharmacy in downtown Hopkinsville. The stairwell smelled like old carpet and peppermint. Roy met me in the waiting area. He wore a brown suit and carried a yellow legal pad. He looked younger than his voice sounded. "Coffee?" "No, thank you." "Water? I'm fine." He led me into a small conference room. The table had scratches near one corner. A printer hummed behind the wall. I placed the petition between us. Roy read it without speaking. He circled several lines and made 2 notes in the margin. When he reached the veteran status paragraph, he stopped. "Did you receive any attachments?" "No. No exhibits. Just that." He turned back several pages. "Bruce is claiming the house equity should be adjusted. I saw that. He's connecting the VA financing to your service status. The house is jointly titled." "Yes." "And the loan was approved years ago." "Yes." "So why does my current status matter?" "It may not matter the way he suggests." Roy tapped the paragraph. But this language gives him room to introduce something later. Something like what? A record, a witness, an agency finding. There isn't an agency finding. I believe you. I didn't ask whether you believe me. He looked up. That's fair. I folded my hands on the table. My record is clean. My retirement was approved. My characterization is honorable. Then we'll document that. It's already documented. At the Army. Yes. Do you have personal copies? In my home office. Bring copies next time. Leave your originals where they are. I thought about the boxes Bruce had carried into the office. He still has access to the house. Has he returned? Not since the club. Do you know where he's staying? No. Roy wrote something down. Change your email password. We share the mortgage account. Change your personal email password. Don't touch his accounts. I know. I have to say it. You probably do. He slid the petition toward me. I can file a response. I can also send a preservation notice. What does that preserve? Financial records, messages, service documents, anything related to his claims. Will that tell him I'm suspicious? He already filed language attacking your status. Roy capped his pen. He knows you'll respond. I looked through the window behind him. Across the street, a delivery driver stacked boxes beside a restaurant door. What would you do first? I asked. I'd find out whether this is careless language or deliberate language. How? We asked Bruce's attorney to identify the basis. That simple? The question is simple. The answer won't be. Roy almost smiled. No, it probably won't. I hired him that morning. The retainer took a noticeable piece from my savings. I wrote the check and watched the receptionist stamp it. Money had always made me cautious. Bruce and I weren't wealthy. Our house had good equity because we'd stayed in it. We repaired things instead of replacing them. The kitchen floor still had a burn mark from an old space heater. One bathroom sink drained slowly every winter. The garage door needed help during cold weather. The house mattered because we'd paid for it month by month. It also held most of my life. When I returned to Walnut Ridge Lane, Bruce's car was parked outside. He stood in the garage with 2 plastic storage bins. What are you doing? I asked. Getting clothes. You could have called. It's my house. I didn't say it wasn't. He pushed one bin into his trunk. His uniform shirts lay folded inside. I'd ironed some of them the week before. Where are you staying? With a friend. Which friend? You don't know him. I looked at the second bin. That's not clothes. Office stuff. From my office? Our office. It became my office after you moved your desk upstairs. He shut the trunk. You're really doing this? Watching what you remove? Yes. I mean hiring an attorney. You served me divorce papers. That doesn't mean we have to become hostile. I waited for him to hear himself. He didn't. Who wrote the veteran status paragraph? I asked. My attorney. Why? He writes the documents. That wasn't my question. Bruce checked the street before answering. You've always exaggerated your contribution. To whom? Everyone. Name one person. I'm not doing this. He reached for the garage door button. I stepped inside before it closed. Is there a problem with my retirement record? I didn't say that. Your petition says that. It says representations. What representations? Bruce picked up the second bin. You know how these cases work. No, I don't. Neither do you. My attorney advised me. Then your attorney can explain it to mine. Bruce's grip tightened around the handles. That's exactly the kind of thing I mean. What kind of thing? You turn everything into a command. I asked a question. You don't ask. You interrogate. He carried the bin toward his car. I followed far enough to see what was inside. Framed photographs, a desk clock, 2 binders, an old wooden nameplate. None of it belonged to me. Did you enter my filing cabinet? I asked. He set the bin down. No. Did you remove any service documents? No. He answered too quickly. That wasn't proof of anything. It was only a change in his rhythm. I'd asked several questions. He'd avoided most of them. That one received an immediate answer. I walked into the house. Bruce followed me. Sandra, don't start searching through things. They're my things. You're proving my point. I went to the office. The framed commissioning certificate still hung on the wall. The boxes from my retirement sat where I'd left them. The filing cabinet stood beneath the window. Its top drawer wasn't fully closed. I pulled it open. The hanging folders were out of order. Tax records sat behind medical receipts. The file for the house had been pushed to the back. I removed the folder marked Retirement. The original packet was there. I checked each page. The personal copy of my separation record was missing. I checked again. Bruce stood in the doorway. Where is it? Where's what? My copy. Of what? You know what? No, I don't. My discharge paperwork. He leaned one shoulder against the frame. You probably put it somewhere else. It was in this folder. You move things constantly. I don't. He looked toward the certificate on the wall. You have plenty of paper. That doesn't answer me. I didn't take it. Did you copy it? No. Did your attorney ask for it? No. I held the folder against my chest. Bruce looked tired now. Not sad, not angry. Tired. Why are you doing this? I asked. You know why. I know you want a divorce. I don't know why you're attacking my service. I'm asking for an honest accounting. Of money? Of everything. Then be honest. He pushed away from the door frame. I have to go. Who is the friend? Bruce kept walking. Someone who doesn't question every word I say. The front door closed. I stood in the office and listened to his car start. Then I checked the file again. The missing copy bothered me. It wasn't irreplaceable. I could request another certified copy. That wasn't the point. Someone had opened the cabinet. Someone had disturbed the folders. Bruce had denied touching them. I took photographs of every drawer, then I made an inventory. I wrote down which papers were present and which weren't. I photographed the boxes, the framed certificate, and the lock on the filing cabinet. After that, I moved nothing. Roy called near 5. Bruce's attorney is Sean Nelson, he said. I don't know him. He practices family law. He also handles military divorces. Did he explain the clause? He acknowledged my letter. That's not an explanation. No. I told Roy about the missing copy. Was it an original? A personal copy. Can you prove it was in the cabinet? No. Did Bruce admit entering the drawer? No. Then document it and leave it alone. I already did. Roy was quiet for a moment. Good. I also photographed the cabinet. Better. Can we request my Army file now? We can. The certified full record takes process. I want to see Nelson's formal response first. I know what my file says. I understand. No, I don't need it to reassure me. I know. He spoke more softly. We need it because someone else may claim your personal copy says something different. That sentence stayed with me. I spent the next week changing how I lived. I stopped leaving mail on the kitchen counter. I created a separate folder for every letter from Roy. I checked the mortgage account each morning. I also changed the code to my home office. Bruce noticed. He texted late one evening. Did you lock the office? I answered with one word. Yes, his reply came immediately. That room contains marital property. So does the garage, I wrote. He didn't answer. 2 days later, Jennifer called. I let it ring once before picking up. I heard you changed the locks. Who told you that? Bruce. I changed one keypad inside the house. He has rights, Sandra. He still has a house key. That isn't what he said. What did he say? Jennifer sighed. This is already hard enough. For him. For everyone. I sat at the kitchen table. Why did you attend the event? What event? The hail and farewell. We were invited. Did you know I'd be served? A spoon clicked against a cup on her end. I knew Bruce planned to speak with you. That wasn't what happened. He said you wouldn't listen privately. He hadn't tried. You can be difficult when you've made up your mind. About a divorce I didn't know he wanted? Jennifer breathed out slowly. I'm not taking sides. You sat beside Hannah and watched. What was I supposed to do? You could have looked surprised. She said nothing. That silence confirmed more than an answer would have. How long did you know? I asked. Bruce has been unhappy for years. How long? He didn't give me a date. When did he tell you he filed? I don't remember. It was last month. I'm almost 80. I don't record every conversation. Jennifer remembered the date of every ceremony Bruce had ever attended. She remembered the menu from our wedding. She knew exactly when he told her. Did Bruce discuss my service record with you? Why would he? That isn't a no. Her voice changed. It became smoother. I think there has always been confusion about what you actually did. No, there hasn't. Well, not everyone understands. You've had 25 years to ask. I'm not criticizing you. What did Bruce tell you? He said the divorce might require clarification. Of what? Benefits. Dates. That sort of thing. What sort of thing? You need to ask your lawyer. I looked down at my notes. You used his attorney's wording. I don't know what you mean. You said clarification. That's in the letter Roy received. Another silence. Then Jennifer said, I'm trying to remain civil. So am I. I hope you remember that Bruce still has a career. I waited. There it was. Not concern for the marriage. Not concern for the house. His career. What does that have to do with my discharge? I asked. I never said discharge. My fingers tightened around the pen. No, you didn't. I have to go. Jennifer. What? Who told you that word mattered? The call ended. I wrote down the time. That was the moment I stopped treating the petition as an ugly divorce tactic. Jennifer knew there was a question about my service. She also knew enough to avoid one specific word. I called Roy. He answered from his car. What happened? I repeated the conversation. Did you record it? No. I took notes. Good. Email them to me while they're fresh. What do you think she knows? Probably less than she thinks. That isn't comforting. It may be useful. The next Sunday, I went to church alone. Bruce usually attended with me twice a month. Jennifer and Hannah attended almost every week. I considered staying home. Then I decided I wasn't going to disappear because Bruce had embarrassed me. The sanctuary smelled like furniture polish and wet coats. Jennifer sat in her usual pew. Hannah sat beside her. They left no space at the end. I took a seat several rows behind them. During the greeting, people shook my hand too carefully. A woman named Carol leaned close. I'm praying for both of you. Thank you. Bruce is under so much pressure. So I've heard. Carol touched my arm. You'll be all right. You've always been independent. I looked at her. What has Jennifer told you? Her smile slipped. Nothing private. What did she tell you publicly? I shouldn't have said anything, but you did. Carol glanced toward Jennifer. She only said there were questions. About what? Your work. Your benefits. My work. She said it was mostly administrative. I lowered my voice. Did she say my military record was false? No, not false. What word did she use? Carol rubbed her thumb over the edge of the bulletin. Unclear. Across the sanctuary, Hannah was watching us. When the service ended, she reached me before I reached the aisle. You upset Carol. I asked her a question. She was trying to be kind. Why are you discussing my benefits with church members? Hannah blinked. I haven't discussed your benefits. She heard it from your mother. Then talked to Mom. I did. Hannah picked up her handbag. Maybe this is why Bruce couldn't talk to you. What did he tell you? That you made his life about your career. I looked at her. For years, I'd barely mentioned it around them. Hannah knew that. She adjusted the strap on her shoulder. He said there were things nobody knew. What things? I'm not getting involved. You already are. Jennifer came up beside her. We're leaving. I stepped back. Go ahead. Jennifer's mouth tightened. People moved around us toward the doors. Nobody stopped. Nobody wanted to be caught listening. Hannah followed her mother outside. I stayed beside the pew until the aisle cleared. Carol approached again. I'm sorry. Did Jennifer ask you to repeat that? No. Did Hannah? No. Who else heard it? Carol looked toward the entrance. Several people. How many? I don't know. Did Bruce say it himself? Not to me. That mattered. The rumor had started moving before any evidence appeared. I drove straight to Roy's office. He'd agreed to meet me even though it was Sunday. He unlocked the front door wearing jeans and a Kentucky sweatshirt. We sat in the same conference room. I gave him my notes. Roy read both pages. They're preparing people, I said. For what? I don't know yet. He tapped Carol's name with his pen. This is a small confirmation. Of what? That the clause wasn't accidental. He pulled the petition closer. Bruce's family is repeating its language outside court. They may not understand it, but they're repeating it. Can we stop them? We can send a warning. No. Roy looked up. If we warn them, they'll change the words. What do you want to do? I thought about Jennifer ending the call. I thought about Hannah watching me speak to Carol. I want them to keep talking. Roy studied me for a second. That has risks. I know. Rumors spread faster than corrections. I know that, too. He set down his pen. Then what's your deliberate response? It was the first time anyone had asked me plainly. I answered just as plainly. Get the certified records. Preserve every claim. Ask for the basis in writing. Roy nodded. And until we have it, I pay attention. The next morning, Roy sent Sean Nelson 3 requests. The first asked for the factual basis behind the veteran status claim. The second asked Bruce to preserve every related document. The third requested dates for exchanging financial records. Sean answered before lunch. His email contained 4 sentences. Roy read it to me over the phone. Counsel is still reviewing relevant service materials. Petitioner has a good faith basis for the language used. Supporting documentation will be produced according to the court schedule. That's it? I asked. That's it. What service materials? He doesn't say. Whose materials? He doesn't say that either. I walked into my office and looked at the empty space inside the retirement folder. Can an attorney write good faith basis without having evidence? He can write it. That wasn't my question. Roy sighed. He should have something from his client. Something true? That's a separate question. I sat at my desk. Does Nelson know my copy is missing? Not from us. Does he know we requested the basis? He knows now. What happens next? We file your response, then request the official record. I looked at the framed certificate. Do it. Roy filed our response that afternoon. We denied Bruce's claims about my service. We also refused his demand that I surrender any interest tied to the house or retired pay. I didn't hear from Bruce for 3 days. Then an envelope arrived from his attorney. It contained a proposed agreement. Bruce would allow me to remain in the house for 6 months. In exchange, I would waive any claim to his retirement and accept a reduced share when the house sold. I called Roy. What does reduced mean? He hasn't supplied a number. Then it means whatever he wants. That's how I read it. Why would I sign this? To avoid litigation. He created the litigation. I'm not recommending it. I turned to the last page. There was a blank line for my signature. Bruce had already signed his. His handwriting looked calm and familiar. I'd watched that same hand-signed birthday cards, mortgage papers, and restaurant checks. Now he wanted me to sign away years of property. I placed the agreement inside Roy's folder. Reject it. I will. Don't counter. You're sure? Yes. Roy waited. Sandra, refusing to counter, can slow this down. Then it slows down. All right. I heard him typing. Anything else? Tell Sean I won't negotiate against evidence he won't identify. Roy stopped typing. I can phrase that professionally. Use smaller words if necessary. He laughed once. I'll handle it. March began with cold rain. Water collected near the back door. I put down an old towel and made a note to repair the weather stripping. That was how my days worked then. 1 minute I was discussing military records with an attorney. The next I was pricing a strip of rubber for a door. Bruce still paid his share of the mortgage. He hadn't removed money from our joint household account. He also hadn't returned home. His closet was half empty. His toothbrush was gone. A pair of old running shoes remained beside the garage door. I didn't move them. On the first Wednesday of March, my phone rang while I was cleaning the refrigerator. The number belonged to Blanchfield Army Community Hospital. A woman named Denise spoke after I answered. Miss Contreras? Yes. I'm calling from the hospital command suite. Do you have a minute? I do. She sounded nervous. We're preparing an announcement concerning the East Wing. I closed the refrigerator door. What announcement? The wing is being renamed for Ernest Hughes. I sat down. For several seconds, I didn't speak. Denise waited. When? I asked. The dedication is planned for late April. Does Maria know? She approved the name last week. I looked toward the framed photograph near our kitchen phone. Ernest stood beside Maria at my retirement reception. His tie was crooked because he'd always hated formal clothes. The picture had been taken years earlier. Maria brought it to the reception after he died. Denise continued, "There will be a formal ceremony and reception. Mrs. Hughes asked us to contact you." "For what?" "She wants you to deliver the keynote." I put one hand flat on the table. "I'm not a keynote speaker. She said you'd say that. That sounds like Maria." Denise relaxed slightly. "The hospital would be honored if you accepted. What do you want me to speak about?" Colonel Hughes. Hearing Ernest's title didn't surprise me. The wing was being named for him. His service was the reason. His work, I asked. His leadership. His impact on the people who served with him. I can speak about that. We'll need around 20 minutes. I can give you 15. Denise laughed. "Mrs. Hughes said you'd negotiate. I'm consistent. May we announce your participation?" I looked at the divorce petition on the counter. What would the announcement say? Your name, your years of service, and that you worked with him. Nothing else? Not unless you approve it. Keep it simple. We can do that. After we ended the call, I remained at the table. The hospital had given the dedication a 2-month deadline. That should have felt separate from the divorce. It didn't. Bruce's family had already started questioning my service in church. Now my name would appear beside a military hospital event. I called Maria. She answered with, "Before you complain, I already told them you'd do it. You volunteered me." Ernest did it to people all the time, I remember. He called it developing confidence. He called everything developing confidence. Maria chuckled, then her voice softened. "This matters to me. I know I couldn't stand there alone. You won't." "Thank you." I heard a drawer close on her end. "There's something else," she said. "What?" "Ernest left a letter for you." I sat straighter. "When?" "Before he died." "Why haven't you given it to me?" "He told me when." "When what?" "When they named something after him. That is very specific. He was a very specific man. What's in it? I haven't opened it." "Maria, I haven't." I believed her. Ernest trusted her with everything. She took that trust seriously. "I'll bring it to the ceremony," she said. "You could mail it." "No, why not?" "Because he said I should place it in your hand." I rubbed my forehead. He planned this? He hoped for it. That sounds more like him. Maria grew quiet. "Are you all right?" The question wasn't casual. "Why?" "I heard about Bruce." "From whom?" "Jennifer." My hand stopped. "When?" 2 days ago." "What did she say?" "That the marriage had ended. She said there were complications with your records." I looked at the clock. "Did she call you?" "No. I saw her at the hospital auxiliary meeting." "What exact words did she use?" Maria thought for a moment. She said, "The Army may have questions about Sandra's status." "Was anyone else there?" "Several women." "Did you ask what she meant?" "I told her the Army knew where to find you." Despite everything, I smiled. "What did she say?" She changed the subject. I stood and walked to the window. "Maria, don't argue with her." "Why not?" "Because I need to know what she's saying. She's saying ugly things. I know. She's also saying them carefully. I know that too." Maria didn't like my answer. "You sound like Ernest. That isn't always a compliment. It is today." The hospital released the announcement on Friday. It was brief. The East Wing would become Hughes Hall. Maria would attend. I would speak about Ernest's career and influence. The announcement gave my name and my 26 years of service. Nothing more. By Saturday morning, Hannah had shared it online. She added one sentence above the link. Interesting timing considering everything under review. I took a screenshot. Then I called Roy. "Don't respond," he said. "I wasn't going to. Send me the screenshot. I already did. Who can see her post? Her church friends, family, people around Fort Campbell. Is Bruce tagged? No. Has he reacted to it? Not yet. I refreshed the page. A new comment appeared from Jennifer. Some honors should wait until all facts are known. I took another screenshot. They're getting bolder, I said. They're also documenting themselves. That doesn't protect the hospital. No. I walked into my office. Could this hurt the dedication? If enough people complain, it could create pressure. That's what they want. Possibly. They want me to withdraw. Roy didn't answer. I looked at the commissioning certificate again. The frame was plain black wood. Ernest's signature hadn't changed because Bruce felt threatened by it. I'm not withdrawing. I didn't suggest it. I'm telling you. Then prepare your remarks. The next complication arrived that afternoon. Denise called again. Her voice had lost its earlier warmth. We received an inquiry. From whom? She didn't give her name. What did she ask? Whether the hospital had verified your service before inviting you. I gripped the phone. How did you answer? I said the event is about Ernest Hughes. That isn't an answer. No. She hesitated. The caller claimed your discharge was being challenged in court. At that point, only a small group knew the petition's wording. Bruce, Sean, Roy, me, and Bruce's family. What exactly did she say? I asked. She asked whether Blanchfield wanted to attach its reputation to someone under review. I'm not under review, I understand. Does the hospital? We're not withdrawing your invitation. The way she said it bothered me. Has someone suggested that? There are concerns about disruption. What kind of disruption? Complaints? Questions during the reception? Online comments? I sat at the kitchen table again. Would you like me to step down? No, she answered quickly. Then she took a breath. I need to ask whether you expect any official action before the ceremony. My retirement is official. My service record is official. The divorce petition is an accusation from my husband. All right, there's no Army investigation into me. Thank you. Denise. Yes? If the hospital receives anything written, please preserve it. We would, even an email. I'll make sure. After the call, I checked Hannah's post. The comments had grown. Most people wrote vague things, praying for truth. Hard to know what happens behind closed doors. The Army should verify everyone. One man wrote that he'd known me professionally and found the suggestion ridiculous. Hannah deleted his comment. I captured that too. Bruce finally reacted with a single sentence. I trust the court process. That was clever. He didn't accuse me directly. He didn't defend me either. He gave the rumor a place to grow. I called him. He answered after 5 rings. What? Did your mother call Blanchfield? I don't know. Did Hannah? I don't know. Did you? No. Someone told the hospital my discharge is challenged. It is. No, you challenged it. That's what court is for. What record are you relying on? Talk to Sean. I did. Through Roy. Then wait. You're contacting people outside court. I'm not. Your mother is. You don't control her. Neither do you. He didn't answer. I could hear traffic behind him. Where are you? I asked. Out. You sound like you're in a parking lot. Why does that matter? It doesn't. A woman's voice said something near him. The words were muffled. Bruce covered the phone. I waited. When he returned, his voice was lower. I have to go. Who was that? Someone from work. At 6 on Saturday? We're handling a budget issue. I looked at the clock. Tell me what document you have. No. Why not? Because you'll try to explain it away. I can't explain something I haven't seen. That's the point. He ended the call. I stayed at the table with the phone in my hand. At first, the woman's voice seemed like another locked door. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know whether she mattered. Bruce's last sentence mattered more. He hadn't said there might be a document. He'd spoken as if one already existed. On Monday morning, Roy submitted the formal request for my complete official military personnel file. He explained that a personal copy wouldn't be enough if Bruce intended to introduce competing records. We'll request certification from Human Resources Command, he said. The full file. The full file. That includes material unrelated to the divorce. It does. I don't like that. Neither do I. Then why request all of it? Because selective records create arguments. A complete certified file closes them. I understood the logic. My record had been maintained for my entire career. It included the original commission Ernest signed in 1998. It included every major order and the final retirement documents. None of that was created for Bruce. None of it depended on his honesty. "What's the timeline?" I asked. "It may take weeks. We'll likely need a subpoena because of the scope." "Start it." Roy nodded. I also received another email from Sean. "What does he want?" "He says his client has located supporting documentation." My mouth went dry. "Did he attach it?" "No." "Did he identify it?" "He called it a discharge record." I stared at the missing space in my folder. "That's impossible." "Why?" "Because my discharge record says honorable." "I know what you told me." "Roy, there isn't another version." "Then we need to see what Bruce has." I stood very still. "What happens if he files it before our certified record arrives? We challenge it. Using what?" "The truth, then the Army's records." That sounded simple in his office. It didn't feel simple inside my house. After we ended the call, I opened my email. The hospital announcement sat near the top. Beneath it was a message from an address I didn't recognize. The subject line read, "Withdraw while you still can." The body contained one sentence. "Your husband has proof you were discharged for misconduct." I forwarded it to Roy. Then I printed it and placed it in the folder. For the first time, the rumor had named the accusation. Someone wasn't merely questioning my service. Someone was preparing to replace it. Roy called before 8 the next morning. "Can you get to my office?" "How soon?" "Now." I didn't ask what happened. He met me at the top of the stairs. His tie hung loose, and he hadn't shaved. "Sean filed it," he said. "The discharge record?" "Yes." "Where?" "With a supplemental motion in the divorce case." My hand tightened around the railing. "So it's public?" "Not fully. It contains protected information. I've asked the clerk to restrict access, but he filed it." He did. Roy unlocked his office. A paper copy waited on the conference table. It lay face down beneath a plain folder. I remained near the door. "Have you read it?" I asked. "Several times." "Is it mine?" "It has your name." "That wasn't my question." "I know." Roy pulled out a chair for me. I sat. He took the opposite chair. "This was produced as an official Department of Defense separation record." Sean attached a statement saying, "Bruce maintained it in the marital files." He didn't. That's his statement. "What does the record say?" Roy turned the page over. I recognized the form immediately. It looked like a DD-214. The spacing was familiar. The boxes were familiar. Even the gray background looked right. My name appeared across the top. Most of the identifying number was covered on Roy's copy. The entry date was correct. The separation date was correct. My years of service were correct. Then I reached the characterization box. Other than honorable. I read it twice. The words didn't change. Roy watched me. "That isn't my record." "What specifically is wrong?" "The characterization. Anything else?" I moved down the page. A separation authority appeared in one box. A code sat beside it. The narrative reason listed misconduct. Under remarks, the form referenced a conduct unbecoming finding from 2003. I put one finger beneath the date. This never happened. "Were you the subject of any proceeding that year?" "No." "Any investigation?" "No." "Any written reprimand?" "No." "Any adverse finding?" "No." "Could there have been an administrative inquiry you forgot?" I looked at him. "You don't forget that." "I have to ask." "I know." I read the remarks again. The language sounded formal. That was what made it dangerous. Most people wouldn't know which words belonged on the form. They'd see a government layout and an official-looking number. Then they'd believe the box. Roy slid a legal pad toward me. "Walk me through 2003. I deployed that year. Where were your records maintained?" "Through my command and personnel channels." Did Bruce have copies? Not officially. Did you keep documents at home? Orders, evaluations, travel records? Could he access them? We were married. Roy wrote that down. When did you return? I told him. Was Bruce present? He met me. So he knew you remained in service afterward. Of course he knew. You served more than 20 years after this supposed finding. Yes. Without knowing it existed. Because it didn't. My voice came out louder. I lowered it. Sorry. Don't apologize. Roy turned the paper toward himself. The form claims the finding was retained in a restricted personnel section. That phrase doesn't make sense. Explain. A record doesn't become real because someone calls it restricted. Would an ordinary judge know that? Probably not. That's the problem. I leaned back. Until that morning, I thought Bruce was building doubt. I thought he wanted people to believe my service had been less important than his. This was different. He had submitted a document claiming the Army discharged me for misconduct. Could this affect my retired pay while the case is pending? I asked. Not automatically. The house? He's using it to argue that your VA-linked contribution was based on misrepresentation. The loan was legally approved. Yes. The title is joint. Yes. And he knows that. Yes. Then why is Sean presenting this like it changes ownership? Because Bruce wants the court to weigh credibility. I looked at the form. If the judge believes I lied about this, everything I say becomes questionable. That appears to be the strategy. The air conditioner clicked on above us. I folded my arms. Where did the form come from? Bruce's statement says he found it in your retirement materials. My personal copy disappeared. I remember. He took the real copy, then produced this. We can't prove that sequence yet. He knew where the folder was. Yes. He denied opening it. I wrote that down too. Roy lifted the page by its edges. There are things I don't like. Besides the lie, the type isn't consistent in 3 boxes. The spacing around the service characterization is slightly different. I leaned forward. The difference was small. I wouldn't have noticed without looking. What about the control number? I asked. We've requested authentication from Human Resources Command? Yes. Who handles that? A records custodian. I don't have a name yet. I pointed to the bottom of the form. That number should trace back to an issued record. That's what I'm hoping. You're hoping. I'm not promising what their response will say. I know what it should say. Roy met my eyes. That's not the same as having it under seal. I hated that he was right. What did Sean say when you challenged it? He said his client believes it's authentic. His client knows it isn't. Then Bruce is putting his attorney at risk. Does Sean understand that? I told him there were serious authenticity concerns. What did he do? He said we could raise them before the court. That's convenient. It protects him for now. I stood and walked to the window. People moved along the sidewalk below. A woman carried 2 drink trays into the pharmacy. A man fed a parking meter. The whole town continued through an ordinary morning. Behind me, a false version of my life lay on a scratched table. Can we force Bruce to say where he got it? I asked. Yes. When? In Discovery. Not through Sean. Bruce himself. We can send written questions under oath. Do it. He may answer through counsel. Then put him in a deposition. That costs money. So does losing my house. Roy nodded. I'll prepare both. I turned back. Can we remove this from the court file? We can move to strike it. The judge may hold that request until authentication, so it stays. Restricted, hopefully. It only takes 1 copy. Roy didn't disagree. My phone rang inside my handbag. The hospital number appeared. I looked at Roy. Answer it. Denise spoke quietly. Are you somewhere private? I'm with my attorney. I received a document by email. What document? A discharge form. Roy held out his hand for the phone. I put the call on speaker. Denise continued. It claims you were separated for misconduct. Who sent it? The message came from a new account. Was there any text? One sentence, it asked whether Blanchfield had completed its verification. Roy leaned closer. Denise, this is Roy Shelton, Ms. Contreras' attorney. Please preserve the original email, including all header information. I already forwarded it to our legal office. Good. Don't forward it anywhere else. Is the document real? No, I said. Roy glanced at me but didn't correct me. Denise exhaled. The command team wants a meeting. When? This afternoon. About removing me? They haven't made that decision. That meant someone had discussed it. I'll be there, I said. Roy ended the call after getting the legal office contact. Then he sat back. That was fast. Sean filed it yesterday. The hospital received it this morning. Can we trace the email? Maybe. Would that prove who sent it? Not necessarily. I looked at the form again. Bruce isn't waiting for court. No, he wants the accusation established before anyone checks it. Roy closed the folder. Then we moved faster. The hospital meeting took place in a narrow room near the administrative offices. Denise sat at one end of the table. 2 members of the command team sat beside her. A civilian attorney joined by video. Nobody mentioned my rank. Nobody reviewed my career. That wasn't why we were there. The printed discharge form sat in front of them. One of the command team members placed both hands on the table. We're not making a finding about your divorce. I'm not asking you to. We do have to protect the event. From me, from disruption. I looked toward Denise. She kept her eyes on her notes. The attorney on the screen spoke next. Ms. Contreras, has any court ruled this record authentic? No. Has any Army agency notified you of an adverse discharge? No. Do you possess an official record showing otherwise? My personal copy disappeared from my home. The 2 command members exchanged a glance. I continued. My complete file is being requested from Human Resources Command. When will it arrive? I don't know. The dedication is in several weeks. I know. The first command member turned the emailed form around. This was sent to 3 hospital addresses. Which ones? The command suite, public affairs, and patient advocacy. That widened the problem. Someone had chosen offices likely to preserve complaints. Has it been shared with staff? I asked. Not by us. Has anyone else called? 4 people. Names? None provided. Same wording? Denise checked her notes. 2 asked whether you'd been discharged for misconduct. 1 said the hospital was concealing your record. The last asked whether Mrs. Hughes knew. I felt that one. Has anyone contacted Maria? We don't know. I reached for my phone. The attorney interrupted. Before you do that, we need to discuss the keynote. I left my phone on the table. Go ahead. But? We may delay announcing the program details. My name was already announced. We can remove the online post temporarily. That makes the accusation look credible. It reduces attention. No. It tells whoever sent this that pressure works. The room stayed quiet. I looked at each person. I'm not asking the hospital to defend my divorce. I'm asking you not to treat an unauthenticated email as an Army record. The first command member nodded slowly. That's reasonable. The second one looked at the attorney's image. We leave the announcement up. The attorney didn't object. Denise looked relieved. The keynote remains scheduled, she said. For now. For the ceremony. I accepted that answer. Maria called before I reached the parking lot. Someone sent me a filthy piece of paper. I was about to call. Is that what Jennifer meant? I think so. Is it real? No. She didn't hesitate. All right, you believe me that quickly? I knew Ernest. I leaned against my car. What does that mean? If something had happened in 2003, he would have known. Not necessarily everything. He knew you deployed. He followed your assignments. He kept copies of every letter you sent us. I closed my eyes. Don't tell anyone about those. Why? Because this is going to court. Then take them. They're personal. They have dates. Maria, don't turn Ernest's things into evidence yet. She went quiet. I don't like the word yet. Neither do I. I'm bringing his letter to the dedication. I remember, and you're still speaking. Yes. Good. After the call, I sat inside my car without starting it. My phone showed 2 new messages. The first came from Hannah. You should step back before this gets worse. The second came from Bruce. Sign the agreement and I'll ask everyone to leave the hospital alone. I read his message 3 times, then I sent it to Roy. Bruce called almost immediately. I answered. You're using the dedication, I said. I'm trying to prevent embarrassment. By sending my supposed discharge to the hospital? I didn't send anything. Then how will signing your agreement stop it? He didn't answer. I waited. You know how Mom gets, he said. Your mother didn't create that document. I never said she did. Who did? Ask your attorney. I'm asking my husband. We're past that. I heard a car door close near him. Withdraw the motion, I said. No. You were married to me in 2003. Yes. You met me when I returned. I remember. You know there was no finding. I know what the record says. The record says what someone typed into it. His breathing changed. Sign the agreement. No. You're going to lose more than you think. What else do you plan to take? I didn't take anything. My copy is missing. You misplaced it. You opened my cabinet. I'm done with this conversation. Not anymore. He ended the call. I sat with both hands on the steering wheel. Bruce hadn't sounded uncertain. He hadn't sounded like a man who discovered a troubling record in a file. He sounded like a man waiting for his document to work. Roy's office obtained the court copy that evening. It included an electronic filing declaration from Sean and a sworn statement from Bruce. The statement was short. Bruce claimed he found the discharge record among papers I had concealed from him. He claimed I'd misrepresented my status throughout the marriage. He also asked the court to consider the record when dividing our retirement benefits and the house. At the bottom, Bruce had signed beneath a warning that false statements could carry penalties. Roy showed it to me on his computer. He committed to the story, I said. Yes. Can he withdraw it? He can try, but the filing remains. Yes. I read Bruce's signature. The missing paper was no longer the problem. The church rumor wasn't the problem either. My husband had placed a false discharge inside our divorce case and sworn it came from me. That changed my position completely. I wasn't trying to understand an insult anymore. I had to prove someone had manufactured a record. 2 days later, Roy received Bruce's financial production. He called while I was buying groceries. Don't review this by email. What did you find? Come to the office. I left the cart beside the canned vegetables. Roy had covered the conference table with documents. Bank statements sat on one side. Credit reports sat on the other. A third stack contained military paperwork. He pointed to the chair. This is going to take a while. I sat. Start with the worst part. I don't know which part that is yet. He handed me a lease. The apartment was in Clarksville, about 20 minutes from Fort Campbell. The lease had started the previous fall. Ashley Moreno appeared as the primary tenant. Bruce appeared as an authorized occupant and financial guarantor. I read both names. Who is she? Civilian budget analyst at Fort Campbell. Does she work with Bruce? Different office. Same installation. I turned the page. The security deposit came from our joint household account. I recognized the transaction. Bruce had labeled it emergency vehicle repair. The monthly rent came from a credit card in his name. He's living there, I said. It appears so. The friend I don't know. Probably. I read Ashley's name again. The woman in the parking lot, the Saturday budget issue. How long has he been paying this? 5 months. We were still living together. Yes. He filed in January. Yes. I placed the lease down. Roy pushed a printed bank statement toward me. There are restaurant charges near the apartment, groceries, furniture, a weekend hotel charge from last summer. I didn't touch the statement. Do you have messages? Not yet. Then he'll say she's a friend. He may. She isn't. Roy waited. I thought I might cry. Instead, I noticed a crooked staple on the lease. I pulled it out and restapled the corner. Roy watched my hands. You can take a break. No. Sandra, show me the rest. He moved to the credit report. Bruce had 3 cards I didn't know about. The balances totaled almost $43,000. A personal loan added another $21,000. Some debt predated the apartment. Most had grown during the previous year. What did he buy? I asked. Meals, travel, cash advances, furniture, electronics. For her. We don't know. I looked at the total. He earns enough to cover this. Not after retirement. My eyes moved to the military stack. What retirement? Roy removed a letter from the top. Bruce had received a mandatory retirement notice. His final date was approaching that summer. After 30 years, his active service was ending. I read the notice. He told me he had options. The notice says otherwise. He said he was considering another assignment. This says he's out of time. I read it again. The language was clear. Bruce's retirement wasn't a possibility. It was a deadline. Roy placed a benefits estimate beside it. His income will drop. How much? Enough that the apartment and debt become difficult. And the divorce? He wants you to waive any share of his retired pay. I saw that. He's also disputing your retired pay. My monthly Army retired pay was about $5,400. Bruce's proposed agreement would protect his income while placing mine at risk. Roy moved another page toward me. The house was appraised. When? Bruce ordered an appraisal before filing. I looked at the date. He'd done it in December. The estimated equity was $210,000. He knew exactly what it was worth. Yes, he wants me to walk away from half, at minimum. I sat back. The numbers were no longer scattered. Bruce owed more than $60,000 outside the mortgage. He had another household to support. His active duty income was ending. He needed money. The house offered it. Our retirement accounts offered more. The false discharge gave him a way to attack both. I picked up the mandatory retirement notice. How did I not know this? Bruce didn't produce it voluntarily, but I lived with him. He hid it. For how long? Roy reached into the military stack. That brings us to these. The first letter was dated 2016. It notified Bruce that he hadn't been selected for promotion. I stared at the date. That year, he'd told me his position had been restructured. He said the timing was wrong and the board wasn't relevant to him. The second letter was dated 2018, another non-selection. Final. That year, Bruce told me he'd chosen not to compete. He said he wanted stability. He said promotion would have required moving. The letters showed he'd lied. He had competed both times. He had been passed over both times. The second decision arrived the same year as my promotion order. I remembered the whiskey. I remembered my ceremony program face down on the restaurant table. Did Sean produce these? I asked. They were included with the retirement documents. Does he know what they show? I assume he read them. I held the second notice. Bruce hadn't been tired that night. He had known his own promotion wasn't coming. Then he sat through mine. Why would he hide this from me? Pride. That doesn't explain the forgery. No. Roy looked at the records spread across the table, but it helps explain the resentment. My phone vibrated. I ignored it. Roy's office phone rang a few seconds later. His receptionist appeared at the door. There's a woman asking for you. She says it concerns the Contreras matter. Name? Ashley Moreno. Roy and I looked at each other. Is she here? He asked. On the phone. Transfer her. He closed the door. The call came through the speaker. This is Roy Shelton. A woman spoke carefully. My name is Ashley Moreno. I understand you may have information concerning my client. Is Sandra there? Roy looked at me. I nodded. She is. Ashley became quiet. Then she said, I think Bruce lied to me. I moved closer to the phone. About what? Her breath caught. I'm sorry. That isn't an answer. I know. Are you having an affair with my husband? Roy held up one hand, but I kept looking at the phone. Ashley answered, Yes. The room went still. How long? Since last year. Before the apartment? Yes. Did he tell you he was married? He said you were separated. We were living in the same house. I know that now. I pressed my palms against the table. What did he tell you about me? That you'd stayed together for financial reasons. He said the marriage had been over for years. It wasn't over to me. I understand. No, you don't. Roy spoke gently. Ashley, why did you call today? She took a slow breath. Bruce asked me to help organize documents. When? Last month. Which documents? Bank papers, retirement estimates, some military forms. Roy picked up his pen. Did you see the discharge record filed in court? I saw something like it. I leaned closer. What did it say? That Sandra had been discharged for misconduct. Did Bruce tell you where it came from? He said it was in a personnel file. Which file? He didn't say. Did he have a paper copy? Yes. Did you scan it? Ashley hesitated. Yes. Roy wrote quickly. Where? At the apartment. Using whose equipment? My scanner. Do you still have the electronic file? I might. Might? I deleted the folder when he got angry. What made him angry? I asked. The dates? My hand stopped moving. What dates? The form said the misconduct finding happened in 2003, but the separation date was in 2024. That can happen on a legitimate form, I said. A prior event can be referenced later. I know. That wasn't all. What else? Bruce told me you stopped doing meaningful military work after 2003. I looked at Roy. Ashley continued. He said the Army let you stay in a civilian-type role while they decided what to do. That's false. I started checking what he'd told me. How? I looked at the public information from the hospital. It said you served 26 years. Yes. Bruce said that was misleading. It isn't. I asked why someone with a misconduct finding stayed until retirement. What did he say? That military records are complicated. Roy leaned toward the speaker. What exactly was Bruce doing when you helped him? He had several versions of files. Versions of what? Forms, scans, PDFs. My mouth went dry. Did you see him alter anything? Roy asked. No. Did you see more than one discharge form? I saw file names. What were they? Ashley paused. One said Sandra Final. Another said Sandra Clean Copy. A third had the word original. Roy and I looked at the false form. Do you remember which one you scanned? He asked. The final one. Did you open the others? No. Where were they stored? On a flash drive. Who has it? Bruce. Why did you wait to call? Ashley started crying quietly. I didn't comfort her. She wiped her nose. I believed him at first. About me, I asked. About everything. What changed? He said you were trying to steal his retirement. That's what he's doing to me. I know. How? He showed me the settlement agreement. The agreement with my blank signature line. What did he say? That once you signed, the house would be his. That isn't what the agreement says. He said his attorney would handle the wording. Roy made another note. Did Bruce discuss his debt? Yes. How much did he tell you? He said around 20,000. It's more than 60. Ashley went silent. I heard her breathe. What did he tell you about his retirement? Roy asked. That he was leaving by choice. He isn't. Another silence. Then she said, he told me the Army had treated him unfairly. I picked up the 2 promotion notices. What else? He talked about being passed over. Twice? Yes. Did he tell you the years? 2016 and 2018. I closed my eyes. Roy didn't interrupt. Ashley continued. He said the second one happened when Sandra got promoted. What did he say about that? That everyone acted like she was better than him. I opened my eyes. He said that? More than once. Who is everyone? His mother? His sister? People at work? That doesn't make sense. His mother and sister skipped my ceremony. He said they skipped it because he asked them not to encourage you. I remembered Jennifer's phrase, a paperwork parade. For 8 years, I'd believed that cruelty belonged to her alone. Bruce had helped write it. What did he say he wanted from the divorce? I asked. The house. No split of his retirement. He said you'd still have enough. Did he mention my retired pay? He said the misconduct record would reduce what you could claim, Roy corrected her. It doesn't work automatically that way. I don't know how it works. Neither does Bruce, I said. Ashley took another uneven breath. He thinks if the judge believes you lied about your record, you'll lose everything else. That was the strategy Roy had identified. Now it came from the apartment where Bruce assembled the files. I looked across the table. The lease, the debts, the mandatory retirement notice, the promotion decisions, the appraisal, everything landed in the same place. Bruce hadn't filed for divorce because our marriage quietly failed. He had another woman, another home, and more debt than his retirement could carry. He was running out of active duty pay. He wanted our house equity. He wanted his retirement protected. He wanted mine weakened. And beneath all of it sat two decisions he had hidden for years. He had been passed over twice. The second time came while I moved forward. He had never forgiven me for a decision I didn't make. "Why are you calling now?" I asked Ashley. "Because he told me to contact the hospital." Roy stopped writing. "Did you?" "No. Did he ask you to send the discharge form?" "He said I should forward it anonymously." "To which offices?" Ashley named the command suite, public affairs, and patient advocacy, the same 3 addresses. "Did you send it?" I asked. "No." "Someone did." "I know." "Who else had the file?" "Bruce." "Maybe his mother." "Maybe." I heard him tell Jennifer he'd send her what she needed. Roy leaned closer. "Do you have messages supporting that?" "I have some." "Preserve them. Don't edit or forward the originals. Am I in trouble?" "I can't advise you as your attorney. I'm not your attorney. I didn't create anything." "Then preserve what shows that." Ashley agreed to send Roy the remaining files through a secure link. Before ending the call, she spoke to me. "Sandra?" "Yes, I'm sorry. I looked at Bruce's signature on the lease." "You should be." She didn't ask me to forgive her. That was the first honest thing she did. After the call ended, Roy remained silent. I gathered the documents into separate stacks. He finally asked, "What are you thinking?" "That Bruce built the divorce backward." "What do you mean?" "He decided what he needed first. The house and retirement?" "Yes." "Then he created the reason I shouldn't receive them." Roy nodded. "The affair explains the timing. The retirement deadline explains the pressure. And the non-selections explain why he chose your service record." I picked up the false discharge. "He didn't just need money. No. He needed me lowered." Roy closed the folder around the document. "We still need proof the record is fabricated. The Army has it. We've requested the Army's file." "When does it arrive?" "Human Resources Command acknowledged the subpoena this morning. And the authentication? They're reviewing it separately." I placed both hands on the table. No settlement, I assumed. No private compromise. No quiet withdrawal. "All right. Put Bruce under oath." Roy reached for his legal pad. "And ask where every version came from." Bruce's deposition took place the following Tuesday. He arrived with Sean and a leather folder. He didn't look at me when he entered. Roy seated me across the room. A court reporter sat between the attorneys. Bruce raised his right hand and swore to tell the truth. Roy began with the filing cabinet. "Did you enter the home office after filing for divorce?" "Yes." "Did you open Ms. Contreras's filing cabinet?" "I don't recall. You previously told her you did not. I don't recall the conversation. Did you remove her personal discharge record?" "No." "Did you copy it?" "No." "Did you scan it?" "No." Roy placed the forged document before him. "Where did you obtain this?" "In the house." "Where in the house?" "Among Sandra's papers." "Which papers?" "Retirement papers." "In the filing cabinet?" "I don't remember." Roy gave him time. Bruce shifted in his chair. "Did you find a paper original?" "Yes." "What happened to it?" "I gave it to my attorney." Sean leaned toward him. "Do not discuss privileged communications," Roy continued. "Did the document you found contain the control numbers shown here?" "I assume so." "Did you compare them?" "No." "Did you create any electronic versions?" "No." "Did Ashley Moreno scan this document for you?" Bruce looked at Sean. Sean said, "You can answer if you know." "I don't remember." "Did you keep a flash drive at Ashley Moreno's apartment?" "I keep several flash drives." "Did any contain files named Sandra Final, Sandra Clean Copy, or Sandra Original?" "I don't know." "And did you ask Ms. Moreno to contact the hospital?" "No." "Did you ask your mother?" "No." "Did you send this document to Jennifer Walton?" Bruce looked down at his hands. "I may have shared it with family." "For what purpose?" "They needed to understand the situation." "What situation?" "That Sandra had misrepresented her record." I watched him say it. No hesitation, no uncertainty. Roy asked the next question. "Did you know Ms. Contreras during 2003? "Yes." "Were you married?" "Yes." "Did she continue serving after that year?" "Yes." "Did she retire in 2024? "Yes." "Were you present when her retirement documents were delivered?" "I was present for the ceremony." "Did you see a document showing an honorable characterization?" Bruce's lips tightened. "I don't recall. I remembered him standing in the office doorway. I remembered the boxes at his feet." Roy placed the proposed settlement beside the false record. "Did you offer to stop interference with the Hughes Hall dedication if Ms. Contreras signed this agreement?" "No." Roy showed him the text. Bruce read it. "That isn't what I meant." "What did you mean?" "I meant I would ask my family to stop contacting people." "Why would your family stop if Ms. Contreras signed?" "Because the case would be resolved." "Would the discharge record become authentic if she signed?" Sean objected. Roy rephrased. "Did you believe the document was authentic when you filed it?" "Yes." "Do you believe it now?" "Yes." That answer mattered. Bruce could no longer say he'd made an innocent mistake and corrected it. He had repeated the claim under oath. When the deposition ended, he closed his folder and stood. I waited near the wall while Roy spoke with the court reporter. Bruce approached me. "You could still end this." "Withdraw the document." "I'm not talking about that." "I am." His face hardened. "You always need the last word." "No, I need the true record." He walked out with Sean. Roy joined me. He committed himself. Again. "Yes." "Does it help?" "It removes ambiguity." "That isn't proof." "No." Roy checked his phone. But this might be. He had an email from Army Human Resources Command. A records custodian had completed an initial authentication review. The name at the bottom was Master Sergeant Gregory Perez. Roy called from the conference room. Perez joined by secure phone 20 minutes later. His voice was calm and precise. "I can discuss the authentication process," he said. "I cannot release protected personnel materials without the proper order." "We have a subpoena pending," Roy said. "I have it." "Can you confirm whether the exhibit's control number is valid?" "I can confirm we ran the number. And it does not match any separation record issued by this office." I held my breath. Roy leaned over his legal pad. Could it come from another Army office? Not in the format represented. Could it be an older number? No. Could it be a scanning error? "We tested reasonable variations." "What did you find?" "No issued record." I closed my eyes. The room remained quiet. Perez continued. "The number structure appears consistent at first glance. The sequence is not present in the archive." "Meaning?" Roy asked. "Meaning the exhibit was not generated from the record system it claims issued it." Roy looked at me. "Have you put that in writing?" "I logged the discrepancy when I first reviewed the packet in March. A formal authentication memo is being prepared. Why were you reviewing it in March?" "A separate request was submitted through counsel." "Whose counsel?" "I cannot discuss another request beyond the production order." Sean had sent the false document for authentication before Roy received it. Bruce's side had known someone would check. "Did you notify the requesting party?" Roy asked. "We requested clarification. We received no source record." "Can the memo be certified?" "Yes." "Can it accompany the complete personnel file with the proper court direction?" Roy thanked him. I spoke before the call ended. Master Sergeant Perez? Yes, ma'am. Did you review my actual characterization of service? I cannot disclose the protected file on this call. I understand. The certified record will speak for itself. That was all he could give me. It was enough for that moment. After the call, Roy sat without moving. The control number was never issued, I said. That's what he confirmed. So the form is fabricated. It's conclusive evidence the exhibit did not come from HRC. Say the other word. Roy looked at the closed door. Forgery. I let the word sit there. Not rumor, not confusion. Forgery. Can we use Perez's statement now? I asked. Not the phone call alone. We need the signed memo. When? He said it's being prepared. And the full file? Processing under the subpoena. I stood. Then we wait for paper. Roy gathered his notes. We also need the right forum. The divorce is already in circuit court. The property case stays there. What changes? The disputed military record involves an active duty officer, an Army-issued form, and possible misuse of personnel systems. I thought about Bruce's branch. His whole career involved personnel administration. Does Fort Campbell take over? I asked. Not the divorce. Then explain it simply. Roy pulled a blank page toward him. The circuit court can hold the property decision. The military judiciary can determine whether the Army record is authentic and address the service-related issue. And the Kentucky judge uses that finding. That's what I'm requesting. Can Sean object? He can. Will he? He requested Army authentication first. Objecting now would look strange. Roy filed the motion that afternoon. Sean did object, but not to the authentication. He argued that the sealed record should remain closed and that only the discharge page mattered. That argument made no sense to me. If Bruce believed his record was authentic, the complete file should have supported it. Roy answered with one sentence I remembered. A single disputed page cannot outweigh the official file that created it. The circuit court held a short hearing 3 days later. I sat beside Roy. Bruce sat beside Sean. The judge reviewed both sides. Then she ordered the service record issue referred for an evidentiary determination through the Fort Campbell trial judiciary. The divorce case would remain open. Property rulings tied to military status would wait for the authenticated record. The hearing at Fort Campbell was scheduled for early May. Colonel Patrick Doyle would preside. His title belonged to him, not me. At that point, my own remained unspoken in every room. Outside the courthouse, Sean approached Roy. We can resolve this without turning it into a military matter. Roy looked at him. Your client filed a military document. He believes it's genuine. HRC does not. Sean's eyes changed, only slightly. Who told you that? Records custody. Was there a written finding? There will be. Sean glanced toward Bruce. Bruce stood near the steps, speaking into his phone. Send me whatever you receive, Sean said, through the protective process. This doesn't need theater. Then withdraw the exhibit. Sean walked away. The certified personnel file arrived the next week. It did not come to my house. It did not come to Roy's office. Human Resources Command delivered it directly to the trial judiciary under seal. Roy and I received a certified index and notice of delivery. The index listed my original 1998 commission. It listed the promotion order issued in 2018. It listed my retirement documents from 2024. The characterization line read, honorable. No disciplinary finding appeared for 2003. No misconduct separation appeared anywhere. The file remained sealed because it contained protected records unrelated to the divorce. I knew what was inside it. I'd known for years. That wasn't the same as having the Army place it directly into a court's custody. Perez's memo arrived the following day. Roy called me into his office and shut the door. The memo contained the authentication steps. It identified the control number on Bruce's exhibit. It described the archive search and the sequence check. Then it stated the result. The number had never been issued. The exhibit did not match any separation document in the official record. Perez signed the memo in his capacity as records custodian. A certification page followed. Roy made one working copy under the protective order. The original went to the military court. I read the copy once. Does Sean have this? He has notice of the result. The court restricted the complete packet until the hearing. Why? Protected information and chain of custody. Does Bruce know? Sean should advise him. Will he withdraw? I don't know. He won't. Roy placed the memo inside a red folder. The record is now beyond his control. That was the lever, not the paper I kept at home, not my memory, not Maria's trust in Ernest. The Army's sealed file had moved directly from its archive into the judge's custody. Perez's memo traveled with it. Bruce could call me dishonest. He could claim I'd hidden papers. He could say my personal copy had been altered. He could not explain why his control number had never existed. What do we do with it before May? I asked. Nothing publicly. The dedication is next week. I know. Jennifer has the false document. I know that too. Should Maria cancel? That's her decision. It's my speech, then decide what matters more. I looked at the sealed delivery notice. The ceremony stays. Roy studied me. If they create a scene, don't argue the evidence. I won't. Don't mention Perez. I won't. Don't describe the file. I won't. He tapped the red folder. Let them believe what they want until the judge opens this. I picked up my handbag. For the first time since the officers' club, I didn't need Bruce to answer me. His answer was already waiting under seal. The morning of the dedication, I ironed my Navy suit. My speech sat on the bed in 6 printed pages. I had written it by hand first, then typed it. Bruce used to tease me about that. Computers have a save button, he'd say. So does paper. I read the speech once at the kitchen table. It wasn't about me. I wrote about Ernest arriving early. I wrote about the way he checked hospital corridors himself instead of waiting for reports. I wrote about his habit of remembering every civilian employee's name. I left out anything that sounded polished. Ernest disliked polished speeches. He once told me, if a person needs a dictionary to understand your gratitude, you aren't grateful enough. I could hear him saying it. At 10, Maria arrived with a white envelope. She held it in both hands. This is yours. I looked at Ernest's handwriting. My name appeared across the front. You're sure today is what he meant? He wrote the instructions on another envelope. That sounds like him. I brought that too, if you're planning to argue. I'm not. Maria placed the letter in my hand. I didn't open it. You're going to make me wait? She asked. Until after the speech. Why? Because I need to get through the speech. She nodded. Fair. I put the envelope inside my handbag. We drove separately because Maria planned to stay for the full reception. I wanted the option to leave. Hughes Hall had temporary signs near the hospital entrance. Blue arrows directed guests toward the east wing. A large cloth covered the new wall lettering. Hospital staff had arranged folding chairs in rows. A small platform stood near the entrance. The reception tables waited farther down the corridor. Denise met me near registration. You came. I said I would. She looked toward the chairs. We have an issue. What kind? Bruce registered as a guest. I followed her eyes. He sat near the back in uniform. Jennifer occupied the chair beside him. Hannah sat on Jennifer's other side. Bruce's insignia identified his own position. Nothing in the room identified mine. They came together? I asked. Yes. Did they say why? They said it's a public dedication. It is. We can ask them to leave. Have they threatened anyone? No. Then don't. Denise lowered her voice. Our legal office is present. Good. Security is nearby. Also good. She studied my face. You don't seem surprised. I'm not. Bruce looked directly at me. I held his gaze for a moment. Then I turned back to Denise. Where's Maria sitting? Front row. Put me beside her until the introduction. Denise touched my arm. If anything starts, we'll stop it. I understand. Maria noticed the 3 of them when she arrived. Her mouth tightened. Who invited that woman? Which one? You know which one. It's public. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. She looked toward Jennifer. She brought a large purse. Maria. What? Don't take her purse. I wasn't planning to. You were looking at it. I'm allowed to look. I smiled despite myself. The ceremony began at 11. A hospital representative welcomed everyone. She spoke about Ernest's service and his work at Blanchfield. Maria went to the platform next. She unfolded one page. I promised my husband I wouldn't make him sound perfect, she said. That was an easy promise. People laughed. Maria told a story about Ernest arguing with a broken ice machine. She described him calling maintenance every morning until it was fixed. He believed small failures became large ones when everyone stepped around them. That line stayed with me. The cloth came down from the wall. Hughes Hall appeared in dark lettering. People applauded. Maria pressed one hand to her mouth. I squeezed her other hand. Nobody had come for me. Nobody rose for me. The attention belonged to Ernest and Maria. That was as it should have been. After the photographs, everyone moved toward the reception area. Coffee and tea sat beside trays of small sandwiches. A sheet cake showed the new Hughes Hall lettering. My speech was scheduled after the first refreshments. Denise placed a glass of water near the platform. You have 15 minutes, she said. I negotiated 15. You originally agreed to 20. I never agreed. She smiled. Then her eyes moved past me. Jennifer had opened her purse. She removed a folded sheet inside a clear plastic sleeve. Hannah saw it. Mom, what are you doing? Jennifer didn't answer. Bruce watched from beside the coffee table. He knew. I could see that before Jennifer moved. Denise followed my gaze. Is that the document? Yes. Do you want me to stop her? No. Sandra, let her choose. Denise looked uncomfortable, but she stepped back. The hospital representative approached the microphone. Our keynote speaker served alongside Colonel Hughes and knew his leadership across many years. Please welcome Sandra Contreras. There was ordinary applause. I walked toward the platform. Before I reached it, Jennifer got out of her chair. Excuse me. Her voice carried through the reception area. The applause faded. Jennifer held the plastic sleeve above her shoulder. I think everyone should know what the hospital refuses to say. The representative moved toward her. Ma'am, please take your seat. I will after I read this. Bruce remained where he was. Hannah touched her mother's sleeve. Mom, don't. Jennifer pulled away. This is a court exhibit. People looked at me. I stopped beside the platform. Jennifer removed the page from the sleeve. Her hands trembled, but her voice didn't. Character of service. Other than honorable. The room became silent. She ran one finger down the page. Narrative reason, misconduct. Maria put down her coffee cup. Jennifer continued. Conduct unbecoming finding, 2003. A hospital employee whispered, What is she doing? Jennifer raised the paper. This woman has allowed people to honor her without telling the truth. The representative reached for the page. Jennifer pulled it against her chest. Don't touch me. Ma'am, this event concerns Colonel Hughes, and his name is being used to protect her. Maria stepped forward. Do not put my husband in your mouth. Jennifer looked at her. I'm trying to protect his memory. You didn't know him. I know what this says. You know what your son handed you. Every face turned toward Bruce. He set down his coffee. Then he walked into the open space between the tables. He moved slowly. He believed he was the calm person in the room. Mom, he said, give me the document. Jennifer handed it to him. Bruce held it where everyone could see. Denise spoke first. Is that the same record sent to the hospital? I don't know what was sent. Is this the document you filed in your divorce? Yes. The public affairs camera remained pointed toward him. Bruce noticed it. He didn't step away. One of my former colleagues moved closer. Bruce, retract this. Why? Because you know Sandra. I thought I did. Another voice came from near the reception tables. Has the Army authenticated that paper? The court will decide. That wasn't the question. Bruce looked toward me. She's had weeks to produce another record. I didn't answer. The sealed file was already inside the trial judiciary. He either didn't know or believed it wouldn't matter. Maria pointed toward the document. You were her husband for 25 years. I was. You watched her serve. I watched her build a story. A few people reacted at once. Someone said, "That's enough." Someone else asked him to leave. Bruce raised his voice. "No, it isn't enough. For years, Sandra let people believe things about her career that were not true." "What things?" I asked. He turned fully toward me. "You know, name them." He hesitated. "Only briefly. Your standing, your record, the way you received benefits. Which benefit was improper? This isn't a courtroom. You brought a court exhibit." His face reddened. Jennifer spoke behind him. She always does this. She asks questions until people feel stupid. I kept my eyes on Bruce. "Did you give your mother that paper?" "Yes." "Did you authorize her to use it here?" I told her the truth deserved to be known. That answer carried across the room. The camera recorded it. Hannah lowered her phone. She looked from Bruce to Jennifer. "You said the hospital already knew," she said. Jennifer turned. "They should have known. No, you said they verified it. They ignored it." Hannah looked at Bruce. "Did they verify it?" Bruce didn't answer her. Denise stepped between him and the platform. The hospital requested authentication. "We have not received any official finding against Ms. Contreras." Bruce held up the page. "This is official." "No," I said. "It looks official." His eyes narrowed. "You can explain that to the judge?" "I intend to." Maria faced him. "Retract it now." "No. You are using my husband's dedication to humiliate someone he respected. I'm preventing a false honor. You don't get to decide what Ernest honored." Bruce's shoulders stiffened. "I stand by the record." The hospital representative asked, "You stand by every statement made here?" "Yes, knowing this event is recorded." "Yes, and you refuse to retract the accusation." "I refuse," Jennifer nodded beside him. "That's right." Nobody applauded. Nobody defended them. That didn't stop Bruce. He placed the paper on the reception table. "If Sandra wants to claim this is false, she can produce proof." I left it where he put it. One of the legal staff slid the page into a clean folder. "I'm preserving this," she said. Bruce waved one hand. "Do whatever you need." Denise turned to me. "Do you want to continue?" I looked at Maria. Her face had gone pale. The keynote pages waited beside the microphone. I could have read them. I could have spoken over the whispers and made everyone sit through 15 minutes. That would have turned Ernest's dedication into a contest between Bruce and me. "No," I said. Maria looked disappointed, but she understood. "Not today." The hospital representative announced that the keynote would be rescheduled. People remained near the tables. Nobody knew whether to leave. Jennifer picked up her purse. "This didn't have to become ugly," she said. Maria stared at her. "You came carrying the ugly part." Hannah walked toward the exit without waiting. Jennifer followed more slowly. Bruce remained. He came close enough to lower his voice. "You should have signed." "Why?" "This could have stayed private. You served me in a crowded club. That was different. You sent a false record to court. It isn't false. Perez says the control number was never issued." His face changed. It was the first time I'd said the name. Only to him. Only close enough that nobody else heard. Bruce glanced toward Sean, who had arrived during the disturbance and now stood near the back wall. "What memo?" Bruce asked. "I'll see you in May." I walked toward Maria. Behind me, Sean said Bruce's name sharply. I didn't turn around. The hospital legal office collected the recording, the paper Jennifer brought, and written statements from staff. Roy arrived 20 minutes later. He spoke with legal staff, then with Maria. Finally, he came to me. "Did you reveal the sealed file?" "No." "Did you show the memo?" "No." "What did you tell Bruce?" "That Perez confirmed the control number." Roy rubbed his chin. "That may be enough for Sean to reconsider." "Bruce won't." "You sound certain. He had 3 chances in that room. He had more than 3. He chose the paper every time." Roy looked toward the covered cake. "No one even cut it." "Maria will take it home." "Good." Ashley sent Roy a message before we left. She had watched part of the hospital broadcast. She confirmed she would preserve her scanner files and appear if ordered. Hannah sent me nothing. Jennifer posted online that the hospital had silenced a legitimate concern. Bruce shared her post. Above it, he wrote, "I will present the truth in the proper forum." Roy captured both posts. "That helps," he said. "Why? He's announcing intent. He already swore to it. Now he's done it before witnesses." Maria carried Ernest's cake to her car. I carried his unopened letter. At the parking lot, she hugged me. "Read it tonight." "I will. Don't let Bruce be the last voice you hear today." He wasn't. That evening, Roy called with notice from the trial judiciary. The sealed personnel file would be opened at the May hearing. Perez's authentication memo would be read into the record. Sean had confirmed Bruce still intended to offer the disputed discharge. The public scene at Hughes Hall hadn't frightened him away. It had made him commit completely. The hearing room was smaller than the officers' club. Bruce sat beside Sean. Roy and I sat across the aisle. Maria occupied the first row behind me. Hannah came alone and sat near the back. Jennifer wasn't there. Colonel Patrick Doyle entered and took his seat. He reviewed the referral from Christian Circuit Court. Then he looked at both attorneys. "This hearing concerns the authenticity of a military separation record and the property consequences tied to that determination. Sean offered the discharge as Bruce's exhibit. Roy stood. We moved to authenticate it against the certified Army record." Judge Doyle looked at Bruce. "Your client continues to represent this exhibit as genuine?" "Yes, sir," Sean said. Bruce leaned toward him. Sean listened, then added, "He does." Judge Doyle opened the protective case delivered by Human Resources Command. The seal broke with a small, tearing sound. He removed the certified index first, then he examined the records behind it. Nobody spoke. Judge Doyle looked at the forged discharge. Petitioner's exhibit characterizes Sandra Contreras' service as other than honorable. It references a conduct finding from 2003. He set it aside. The certified official military personnel file contains no such finding. Bruce shifted in his chair. Judge Doyle removed the first document. "This is the original commission dated 1998. Sandra Contreras is appointed as an officer in the United States Army. The document is signed by then Colonel Ernest Hughes." Maria covered her mouth. Judge Doyle turned to another certified page. "This is the promotion order dated 2018. He read my name. Then he read the grade. Colonel. The word entered the room without decoration. Bruce stared at the table. Hannah looked at me as if she'd never seen me before. Judge Doyle continued. "The record confirms 26 years of service, 3 deployments and retirement in 2024 with an honorable characterization." He checked the remaining index. "There is no disciplinary finding. There is no misconduct separation. There is no other than honorable discharge." Roy placed one hand on the table. Judge Doyle removed Perez's memo. "This memorandum comes from Master Sergeant Gregory Perez, records custodian for Army Human Resources Command." He read the authentication steps. Then he reached the sentence Bruce couldn't explain. The control number shown on petitioner's exhibit was never issued by the Army records system. Sean closed his eyes. Judge Doyle placed the memo beside Bruce's exhibit. "This is not a conflicting record. It is a manufactured record." Bruce whispered something to Sean. Sean stood. "Sir, my client wishes to clarify how he obtained the document." Judge Doyle looked at him. He had that opportunity under oath. Bruce spoke without permission. "I found it in the house." Judge Doyle turned toward him. "Then explain why the official control number never existed." Bruce said nothing. "Explain why the type differs in the altered fields." Silence. "Explain why the official personnel file contains the colonel promotion order, continued service, and honorable retirement." Bruce looked at me. I didn't help him. Judge Doyle spoke clearly. "Petitioner's exhibit is rejected as fraudulent." He turned to the circuit referral. "The challenge to Sandra Contreras' military status fails. Her retired pay remains subject to lawful division based on the certified, honorable record. Bruce Walton's claim against the Walnut Ridge Lane property fails. The contingent ruling awards Sandra Contreras the protected pension treatment and home equity division specified by the circuit court. The house equity at issue was $210,000. My monthly retired pay was $5,400. Bruce had tried to reach both with one false page. That page now sat beneath Perez's memo. Judge Doyle wasn't finished. The creation and filing of a fraudulent military record raises matters beyond this divorce. Bruce's face lost its color. This record is referred to Army Criminal Investigation Division. The associated access history, electronic files, and sworn statements will be preserved. Sean sat down slowly. Judge Doyle looked at me. Ms. Contreras, the official record recognizes your service as Colonel Sandra Contreras, retired United States Army. I answered with my name and the years. Sandra Contreras. 26 years of service, sir. That was enough. Nobody rose, nobody applauded. It was a courtroom. The truth didn't need either one. Outside, Hannah waited near the corridor. I didn't know, she said. You knew enough to repeat it. I believed Bruce. You wanted to. She looked down. Yes, I appreciated that answer more than an excuse. What happens now? She asked. You stop speaking about things you haven't verified. I will. That isn't an apology. I'm sorry, Sandra. I opened the courthouse door. Start with Carol, then call everyone else. Hannah nodded. She didn't ask whether I forgave her. Army CID opened its investigation in June. Investigators recovered the flash drive Ashley described. They found multiple versions of the discharge form. Access logs showed Bruce had used personnel systems available through his Adjutant General Corps work. He had pulled protected details without authorization, then used them to make the false form look believable. His planned retirement did not happen cleanly. After 30 years of service, Bruce ended his career under investigation. His access was suspended. His retirement processing stalled while the criminal and administrative matters moved forward. Ashley left the apartment. She provided her scanner records and messages, then removed Bruce from the lease. I never met with her. There was nothing either of us needed from that conversation. The Kentucky court entered the property orders after Judge Doyle's finding. My honorable record controlled. My retirement wasn't reduced by Bruce's accusation. The House Division followed the joint title and lawful loan history. Bruce didn't get Walnut Ridge Lane. Jennifer called after Perez's memo became part of the public court record. She asked to meet privately. We sat at my kitchen table. She wore the same pearls from the officers' club. I didn't know he forged it, she said. Not until the memo was read. No, but you read it at the hospital. I believed my son. You wanted to. Her eyes filled, but she didn't look away. Yes. I waited. Jennifer folded her hands. I always knew he resented you. How long? Since you moved ahead of him. You mean 2018? She nodded. He told me your promotion made him look small. So you skipped the ceremony. He asked us not to go. Hannah told me. Jennifer touched one pearl. I should have gone. Yes. I thought protecting his pride was protecting my son. It helped him lie. She nodded again. Tentative amends were all she had. I didn't invite her to stay for dinner. The hospital rescheduled my keynote near the end of June. Hannah asked if she could attend. You can sit with Jennifer, I said. Is Mom invited? Maria invited her. Bruce? No. He was not welcomed back. This time, my introduction included the record Judge Doyle had already read. The hospital representative said my name. Then she said Colonel. Maria rose first. Only after Maria stood did the rest of the room follow. Hannah stood beside Jennifer. Jennifer was slower, but she rose too. I waited behind the podium until everyone sat. Then I gave the speech I'd written for Ernest. Afterward, Maria and I opened his letter together. His handwriting leaned across the page. He wrote that institutions kept records because memory could be selfish. He wrote that people often recognized worth late, especially when recognizing it required them to admit they'd been wrong. The last line was simpler. Sandra, Keep your papers and keep your name." I framed that line beneath his signature. A week later, an investigator asked me to describe the case in one sentence. That was the sentence. At home, I repaired the swollen back door. I replaced the weather stripping and cleaned the old towel from the floor. Bruce's running shoes still sat in the garage. I placed them inside a cardboard box with the rest of his property. Then I locked my office and left the framed commission where it had always been. If this story moved you, subscribe and let me know where you are watching from.